Hello everyone. Different background today here. I'm actually working from home. So we'll see if my internet at home works. I'm pretty rural at my house, just like I am at the sanctuary. I am working from home today, and I felt a little guilty at first. We were supposed to get really some bad weather on the highways and snow, and it was kind of a wind advisory, snow advisory. And so when I woke up this morning, I thought, I don't know if I'm going to do an hour and 10-minute drive to the sanctuary on bad roads when I have so much work to do. But it's hard not being at the sanctuary, especially when I'm getting notes on animals and things that are going on. But I will tell you how much writing and things I do get done when I'm at home. It's just because there's not as many interruptions, and I'm not going out seeing the animals or checking on animals when I'm here at home. So it's a really, really good catch-up day for me, and that means I can bring you the weekly wrap-up here from my house. So there's been a lot going on. As everybody knows, we have 11 new residents, and they came just in time for the year-end match. Such generous donors of ours are matching $11,000 for 11 new residents. And there's been a lot of questions about the new residents from our supporters, from the breeding community, from other sanctuaries and rescue groups. And, you know, it's been a little bit of a convoluted learning curve for us as a sanctuary that takes in wildcats. As you guys all know, that we take in the small cats too, and those means domestic hybrid crosses. And that can be anything from first generation cross. Says I have a slow connection, but I'll keep going. First generation cross, meaning an Asian leopard cat to a domestic cat, or a serval to a domestic cat. And it can be all the way down to what's considered domestic variations. That are recognized by domestic cat associations as domestic. Just because they're recognized by domestic cat associations doesn't mean that they don't have their wild ancestors' behaviors. And so, as you guys know, when we take in the domestic Bengal cats or domestic Savannah cats that are F4s, F5s, F6s, it's usually due to poor litter box habits. So the reason we got called on these 11 is because they have Bengal in them. So there's been a lot of questions from the Highland Licks community that Highland Lynx are 100% domestic, and that's what they support, which we agree. We don't like seeing any wild hybrids, but there's certain breeders that then do take those cats and cross them back with other cats. And so that's why we got involved, because these are Bengal crosses pretty much. And so all the kittens are doing well. We are scheduling the female spays, and Mama Claus spay as well. As we talked about, we gave them all reindeer names. It was kind of a whirlwind to go into these little 5x5 enclosures with all these little faces and get to know everybody and their personalities right away. So we decided to name them after Christmas themes. Now, I think some of those names are going to stick, but I think some won't. And so over the next few weeks, as we get to know them, or the week or so, we'll probably have some that have nicknames that have become their permanent names, and we'll reshare them all with you. And then also a lot of questions are they going to be adopted out? It's too early to tell. With some Bengal in them, they could have litter box habits. Right now, everybody's doing the litter boxes really well, but they are kittens, and they're not being territorial yet. So that's, unforeseen. If we do, as I mentioned in my other live post, choose to rehome them, it would be with our core staff, our vet team, and people we know that are experienced with the Bengal breed. It would not be a public adoption, etc. And there are a few of the kittens that are pretty unsocialized. So, and we can always have more office cats. So we're just happy that they are safe. They're in the hands. They're getting vetted. They're getting spayed and neutered, and they're happy. And so we'll keep you posted on them. But I know you want to hear about other cats as well. So as part of the weekly wrap-up, first and foremost, thank you all for your support during all of our senior goodbyes and losses. We definitely have had a hard year. I think, saying goodbye, and as I've told and said before, I don't think it's the end of it. We have so many cats, over 18. So just thank you for your outpouring support and love. It's a roller coaster, as I've said before, the highs and lows of rescue work. But a lot of it's been going on at the sanctuary. So Beauty is doing pretty well. As you remember, Lynx Beauty had acute renal failure, which could be from lepto exposure or something else. And so we've been treating her aggressively, symptomatically, and she's her kidneys have great function again at her recent checkup exam. Her liver values are still elevated, so we are giving her supportive care like milk thistle and other things for that. And so just because we need to be able to see her, and she's drinking a lot of water because of what's going on in her body in this recovery, we wanted to see her better. So she's temporarily moving over to Roar Ridge, where Tao was, so that we have 3 sides of access. And, unfortunately, since Shadow's passing, that enclosure is open too, so we can actually get around her. And so she's doing really well to be expected. She was a little nervous on the move, but she's been exploring in and out. And then Tao, the bobcat, moved next to Aaron, where Lavani used to be. And we were watching closely when she moved out to see if her and Aaron had any issues, or Aaron had a prey drive against her. But honestly, there hasn't been any issues at all, which is great. And that was really looking at that move of who could move next to Aaron. So that's really good news. So we still have Beauty's old habitat open. We kept that formally opened for 30 days in case it was lepto, and we've treated the area and kind of waited for that hard freeze. So now we'll be looking at what other bobcats or animals can benefit from those bigger spaces that are open right now. We still have some moves around, and so we, again, as you know, as sponsor parents, we don't usually send you an update till we know it's a permanent move. And so we tried Bengal Harley out at the Bobcat house, and he did really good for a few weeks. And as soon as we had interns change over, he started territorial marking, which is why we have Catio Town, and so many of our Bengals in Savannah surrendered to us. So we knew that was a possibility. So he's moved back to Catio Town. He was in the city chic room before. As he left, we used an opportunity to add a little color and pizzazz to that city chic room in Catio Town. So he came back to a new improved room. He was a little grumpy to come back because he had all that own space to himself at the Bobcat house, but he's settling in now. It just took a day. So that's good. I don't know if I even had time to tell you about a call I received about a call. I think I was out. I was out because unfortunately my mom was in the hospital over Thanksgiving, and we received a call that a cat was in need, and we were referred to them by 3 rescue groups in Minnesota. So I assumed it was a Bengal, and it ended up being a gray domestic cat due to somebody being evicted. And luckily, this gray domestic cat named Beano, who was long hair, didn't have any vet issues. He was up to date, was very social, very mellow and good. And one of our interns and her family, Savannah, has adopted Beano and said he's doing great. And if you remember the stray cat, others that we've had, I've checked in on Benji and Sophia, who are with Dr. Campbell, and we have Sebastian Stan, and we have, James and Jameson, and why am I doing Hank? We have so many domestic cats or domestic Bengals that have come through the sanctuary that we do adopt out to people we know. We are not an adoption agency, so it's really people that we already know. We already know their history with animals and things like that. And so it's just wonderful that at TWS, if domestic cats come into our care and can be in home environments, that's our preference. But that's not always what can happen. And so Harley, as you know, and Ashes and all the other 40, now 50 some, what we call hybrids and domestic hybrids reside at the sanctuary because they cannot do well in a home environment. And so that's really what TWS is for. It's for those cats that don't have other alternatives. So we talked about Tao. So since Benson's passing, Luna and Claude have been together. They are cohabitating completely fine. There's not probably a love connection yet, but that doesn't surprise me because Claude was really never the love connection of Benson. It was always Benson kind of throwing himself on Claude that made that love connection. But they're cohabitating extremely well. So we'll keep you updated on that. So Rio the ocelot, we finally got some information on kind of some things with the Rio and Pinga and Ozark and that rescue. And so we're told that Rio will she'll pluck, and she has started plucking her tail a little bit. That was noticed today. And so that is something she's gone on year after year. And so they're giving her extra enrichment and things like that, especially during the winter season. So in most cases, we'll do everything from enrichment to even the TVs. And they did put in a TV for her, but that's when it started. So they paid really close attention to notice that it might be the sound of the TV that made her a little nervous. And opposite with other cats, like Shazam loves his TV. So that individualized care is still going to every resident here, even some of our oldest, which is Rio, a 25-year-old ocelot. So I also want to say happy holidays to all of you. It's coming up. I can't believe the holidays are right around the corner. Our staff is going to be working 24/7. The animal care staff does not get a break. Somebody is working every holiday around the clock for the cats. And when you give to the year-end match, not only are you helping for new rescues, but the year-end match helps us staff up. We compensate our staff for overnight shifts. We also give for overnight time and a half hours, because when somebody works overnight, they come in at 11:30. They work out with the cats, doing meds, everything till 8:30. And then, of course, we're not going to have them clock out a minute later and think they're going to fall asleep. There's some decompression time. And same with then they sleep overnight at the sanctuary and they get up, and there's a couple hours that we pay time and a half for them to get up, ready, and then start their shift. And so to us, it's really just making sure that not only our staff or our cats are cared for, but our staff are compensated. When they're away, we've talked about this before, interns and other staff members are going and pet sitting for them. So nobody's really off the clock when you're in rescue, but we try to make sure we're compensating them fairly and appropriately for the commitment and the sacrifice they do make. There'll be some updates on Lucy as well. As everybody knows, she's been getting Silencia, and that has really, really helped Tiger Lucy's elbow. So much so that we had to put some salt down because she was running, or sand down, I'm sorry, not salt, sand in her enclosure because she was running with the UTV. We were hoping to do stem cell therapy last week. And that meant we would sedate her, we'd kind of perform her full intake exam, and then we would administer those stem cells into her joint. Upon going down for sedation, she started getting upset, and she actually vomited up like a fur ball. And yes, big cats do get fur balls. So they backed off on that anesthesia because if she's vomiting or has fluid in her throat when we sedate, she could get aspiration or acute pneumonia, and we didn't want to do that. So we backed off on that. We will be paying for those stem cells, and we're going to be reordering new stem cells to hopefully administer sometime in January. So we are watching the vomiting she had. A lot of it was fur. She had a little bit of grass in there, so we want to make sure nothing's going on. So she did receive her intake exam, and we will be sending that update probably after Christmas to the sponsors with photos and things from her exam, only because it's a skeleton crew right now and we're trying to get it done. And again, we want our staff to be able to celebrate the holidays, especially our social media staff. I can't talk today. The holidays with their families. So those updates we try to get out as timely as possible. But this time of year, things are lagging a little bit. But don't worry, if there's important news, we will definitely share that with you. So that's kind of going on there. So what I've been working on a lot today is looking at putting together a year in review of everything that we accomplished and you guys helped us accomplish last year. And then somebody's asking who donated stem cells. You're correct. Mondovi donated baby. Luckily, kind of backtracking here, with the stem cell therapy, the university we work with did not have bobcat stem cells, so that's why we had to get those from an exam that we did with another cat. But they do have tiger stem cells, so there was no additional sedation needed than her exam to administer those stem cells because they had already grown them in a lab. So great question. So yeah, I've been looking at the year in review and being just wowed about what you guys helped us accomplish this year. It is crazy when I start listing things out. So definitely watch for that year in review. And then we've been talking about what's ahead for next year and what's ahead for the next 5 years. Next year we do have some awesome projects for the cats, but part of those awesome projects is maintenance. We, have been at this site since 2006, and yes, you've helped us do so many new things like Catio Town and Cattail Creek, but we can't forget about the Small Cat Track building or the Roar Ridge building that has been there since the first and second year we built at the sanctuary. So there's things like roofs. We have to redo roofs right now. We have road maintenance for all those new areas we've done. We want to make sure that there's roads around them for the UTVs, for walking paths, for plowing. We have, new equipment we need. And so we've had to replace a boiler already in the Small Cat Track building this year to keep that heat going. And that was about $8,000. So when you give to our programs, I know Rescuing Lucy is really, really exciting and fun. But please know that when you give, your gifts are helping us maintain what we give to the cats every day. And, those boilers, those heaters, those roofs, all of that keep the animals safe. And so we look forward to doing those projects, but they aren't as exciting as, building a whole new habitat. But all is needed to make the sanctuary a safe place for the animals for years to come. So I'm still working a lot right now on international rescue cases. I'm consulting on a case in Honduras. There is a lot of animals in need in Honduras right now. Many of the animals there and the zoos there were owned by cartels, and the government has been enforcing their exotic animal laws and cutting down on wildlife trafficking, which means animals need placement. So that's going to be a really long process based on some of these areas are in islands where you have to get the animals to the mainland first because they were trafficked over as cubs. There are some cases in Canada right now that are in need, and so I've reached out to other sanctuaries as well as other amazing animal welfare groups that have helped in the past with international rescues to see if we can get some movement on getting those animals to U.S. sanctuaries. And there's also still some animals in Ukraine. Europe and other places have stepped up a lot, and they filled up. So we're looking at how the U.S. network of sanctuaries, along with our partners abroad, could possibly help those animals. Another thing that is not exciting to you guys, but to Gina and me and Julie and Sally and all of those that help maintain the donations and make sure you're properly thanked and make sure that you're getting your tax letters. We're looking at a new database management system for 2025, which is a huge undertaking because we really want to be safe, thoughtful, and very accurate about the data we have on you, our supporters, when we do a transition like that. So that's been behind the scenes as well. So a lot going on today working from home. You can see my voice is still a little scruffy from when I was sick. I know so many of you have been sick over the holidays and going into the holidays. So know that our hearts are with you to get better. And also those of you that might be spending the holidays alone, you're not alone. We are here with you. We might not be with you at your house, but we're with you in spirit. We know this time of year can be really wonderful, like when the kittens come, and really hard for people and families. And so just know, reach out if you need to, reach out to each other, reach out to us. You're not alone. We're here as a team. We're here as a TWS family, and we're grateful every day. We count our blessings, not just at the holiday season, but all year round, because we have people like you supporting us in our work. And so thank you very much. I don't think I'll be doing a weekly wrap-up next week, or if I do, it'll be on Friday. But we will be working diligently behind the scenes at the sanctuary to make sure all the animals have a wonderful holiday. And many of you ordered special turkeys and treats. I know you've made a general donation and put in the notes who you want to get to turkey. I know Linda just did another one for Shazam. Shazam's got a lot of turkeys that he's going to be getting over the next few weeks. And so thank you for doing that as well. Remember, the year-end match is through December 31st, and we'll be answering those phones till midnight to make sure we always get the most of that match. Our Amazon wish list and Chewy wish list continue to be full and updated. I know there's some really fun kitten items that have been on there and purchased, but there's some daily items not so exciting, but are so desperately needed on the wish list. So that's a way to help. And, the general donation allows us to buy gifts for the cats, new enrichment, new treats, new food. And those general donations allow us to keep the right amount of caretaking staff so that they can administer and make sure cats get enrichment, psychological well-being, operant condition, everything to keep them mentally and physically happy and healthy as they live at the sanctuary. So thanks again. It was nice checking in with everybody, and we'll continue to send you some of those adorable kitten photos and videos on Facebook while they still are small and little.